Hi, I'm Kaustav. Welcome to ADW 6.0. I'm an architect and I've done my specialization in crafts, and I teach at School of United World Institute of Design in the field of interior design. Today we'll be chatting with Juhi Santani at ADW, and she's a founder and principal of Retail Design. And hi, Juhi.
Hi, Kaustav. A pleasure to be here.
Yes, thank you and welcome. And so, as we teach in the university retail design, and there's UID has interior design, but when any spaces are designed, is designed by architects, interior designers at large. So Mike and we and students in every semester, they do residential projects, retail design, hospitality, certain things. So my question would be, what would be your advice to design schools, or how to prepare design education in order to specialize students so they can design retail specific spaces?
Actually, earlier in the day, I was having a look at the exhibition that you have in your college, and I think you guys are uniquely placed to play this out really well. So you are already multidisciplinary. You have your visual communication students. You have students of interior design, partial design, and product design. And I really think that a really meaningful retail space comes about by a confluence of all these three disciplines, right? So maybe it may be a good idea for you to work on specialized module where these three disciplines actually work together. The students from all these come together, appreciate the kind of skills the other discipline bring. For example, the space designers bring the technical knowledge of how space is to be built. Visual designers bring the understanding of how a brand must be built. But they may not have as much technical knowledge about how space is constructed, right? A product designer can bring a deeper understanding of how merchandise should be displayed, right? So a great idea that you could possibly explore, this is one of the ideas that I can give you, is that with such multidisciplinary verticals that you already have in college, it should be something like a joint exercise, and students could pick and choose on what they are working on, and really hone their skills on the brand storytelling. That is what a retail space is all about. Coming to the point that you were saying that it's mostly architects and interior designers who are designing these retail spaces, that is true. It's honestly unfortunately true. Agencies like mine, we have migrated very early on. You have multidisciplinary team that then truly tells a story of a brand in their offline experience, right? But a lot of clients haven't quite understood the kind of value that specialized, retail designers bring to their customer-facing panel. And it actually needs for an agency to have all these three skills there.
Great. So I think you touched upon the idea of collaborative or interdisciplinary education.
That's right.
As well as individual disciplines, the need of individual disciplines to come in play, because one cannot be master of all. So you have to also acknowledge that though I incorporate interdisciplinary education, but I also need a team, and we lay the importance on that we need visual communication design and we work because it's a world of collaboration.
Absolutely. And there is certain depth of a design practice that somebody who spent time doing visual communication, that somebody who's understood what product detailing, that level of detailing can bring to an exercise like this. Somebody who understands branding and brings that on the table for the entire team to do that. All that is very important. I think we cannot look at only architects or interior designers without the sensitivity of what a retail space should have.
True.
It's not just the spatial aspect.
True.
It's so much bigger than that.
True. So my second question would be, I would be interested to understand, because of the huge the season of AI, technology, and huge intersection of digital experiences. What is your take on integrating digital experiences in physical spaces? Like how much is enough or how much is optimized? Or what is the audience interest, do you feel through your experience?
So I think this is a world that's just beginning to open up. Digital experiences in physical space again. And we have no idea where this entire scenario is going to, it's just going to burst upon the scene.
Yes.
This is what I think. I think we don't quite understand the potential that it has yet because of whatever limited exposure that we have today. So I'll be very honest with you, I have no idea where this is going. But I do have a very strong sense that this is going somewhere really, really, really big, right? So last week I was in London, and you get out of a sort of metro station or tube station, right on Oxford Street.
Okay.
And then there is this offline retail space out there, which is simply clad with screens on all sides, right?
Okay.
Double height frame. It's open. It has no glazing. People are just walking through it.
Okay.
So that area is called the outer net, and I would strongly advise you to have a look at them on the look them up on the internet. So all they have is this offline space which has screens on the top and somewhat like the setup that you have. What are you calling it? The setup that you have on the campus, the dome.
The dome, the projection mapping and illusion dome.
Yes, the illusion dome, something like that. Only with a financial and brand purpose to it. So these are that space where gaming companies can showcase their games. They set up QR codes and information. So if you are a walk-in person, that's where these new games sort of launch themselves.
Okay.
You can scan the QR code and you can play live right there. If you have like a digital installation, you can do like a trailer and a teaser here. So basically, you're bringing a digital asset that you want, which is only present on the internet. You're bringing that to a physical space where people can actually stand and experience it larger than life, not just on your laptop.
Understood.
Your
like maybe the VR sets, and you see a larger.
You just look at the way people are interacting.
True.
Well, across ages, you would think that it would only be the younger generation.
No.
But I want to tell you that that's not true. Almost everyone of different ages is awed by it, right? So, I mean, it's just one of the glimpses on how digital experiences can be so meaningful in offline spaces, because I really think that the whole millennia-old human brain wiring of wanting to experience something in person is not going to go away with 20, 30, 50 years of tech development, right?
True.
Technology will have to integrate our human instinct of wanting to experience and touch and feel things.
True.
Right? So while technology makes a lot of information, data, entertainment, gaming so accessible to us in a private space, we are still a race that's very community-oriented.
True.
So to answer your question in a very long and elaborate way, but to sum it up, I really think that the merger of digital meeting physical is something that we are only just beginning to discover. And there's a huge possibility out there where this is going to take us hugely by surprise. At normal level, we're doing a lot of things, like, making sure that your online commerce is being integrated with offline. It's a chunk selling are being integrated at the store as well. And the offline walk-ins are being driven by online customers and things like that. But those are still at operational level right now. But I really think that this catching attention is waiting to happen.
This brings me to a question, because you're a space designer. And so if I ask you, like, what are the most essential elements you feel that one should not do, even in a phygital or a digital, largely digital space, that belong to the physical, the traditional physical stores, or the traditional, what is that physical store ness factor or identity factor that should never lose, or one should always keep in mind, even while integrating the digital part of it?
Actually, the very essential of any human experience, which is connecting with another human being, is very and detail is but a transactional activity that human beings do with each other. But really, we go to a store because we can touch and feel things, and we can be attended to. I know this being attended to is a very Indian mindset.
Right.
India being the huge, massive retail market of the future,
Yes.
I think A, it's a human instinct. B, it's a cultural instinct for us Indians. Where
The oral tradition will never lose. How much signages you have.
and being able to speak to somebody or somebody sort of analyzing what you like and telling you that, hey, you've seen this, but I have something more up my sleeve. Would you like to have a look?
True.
You're receiving the attention of another community and unobtrusive attention. I think it's still held in good stead. Another thing is expertise. Expertise of the shop person there. So increasingly, I don't think you're going to need store staff to do operational attending to of a customer. This technology is going to make all that.
Do that.
So you're not going to need store staff to do the operational bits alone. You will need for some back end work. But for the customer interaction where the store team is trained so beautifully and they come across as experts and they tell you, and we don't just pay lip service to this expertise.
This brings me to a word. I mean, there's no word that way. They are not floor staff. Maybe it could be knowledge contributors who are more empowered with knowledge providers.
And they really know what their product is all about. And they can send, they're intuitive in the sense that what is it that this customer is looking for based on what they're observing, how they're moving through the aisles, and really customizing the experience to them at a human level. I think that even if technology can do it, but to have a human face there to do that, I think that's the ultimate level of experience that I don't think it's ever going to go away.
It's true.
We buy anything because of the person who's in front of us, right?
True.
And that connection can never go missing from commerce.
Yeah. True. And I would like to understand designers design spaces, but from the customer's perspective, how much does the design of the space impact the retail or the shop experience beyond the product? As maybe brand positioning.
Let's not pander ourselves too much. Designers make the space meaningful, but to the end customer. That is, if I'm a designer and I have the client brand, and the client brand has their customers, so I'm calling them the customer, the end user. Why we do influence them, but our control over them is only subliminal. That control over them, if we understand their mindset, we design a wonderful store which with an experience that they connect with, can still only drive push forward. So, a space designer, a retail designer's primary role is to get people in and to engage them while they browse through the product. But there are two more factors which are very important. And yes, I will come to the brand positioning and understanding the business model that a retail designer must have an understanding of, because in absence of that, what the customer is observing in the product vis-a-vis the environment that is a backdrop to that product will not have an alignment. And that can make you lose a sale. You must, as a retail designer, understand the positioning of the brand. You must understand your client brand's business model so that you can make it meaningful and financially viable, what you're talking about. And also understand the end user so that you can give them that subliminal experience that should connect to it. So these three things are critical. But in absence of a great product, which only your client brand can bring, and a great service at the store level, operational efficiency that as a designer I can contribute, but I cannot facilitate entirely, right? I can contribute that your store is efficiently laid out, right? But the execution of that efficiency is done by a well-trained store staff.
True.
So the operational part of it and the product/service part of it, really, and those are really two very big buckets that sit with the client. And she has to play the piece really well. Otherwise, designers like us can enable walk-ins, can enable that momentary engagement, but not recurring business.
Yes.
So we can get you that first thing and we can create the store to be a buzz. But beyond that, really, and that entire piece has to come together for a customer to come back again and again.
I think this brings back to where we started our conversation of interdisciplinary engagement. So it's not one role, but it's the role of a larger body coming together further.
And really understanding your client well. It's so critical for a retail designer. Understanding their purpose, what is it that they're setting out to do, even if they don't tell you in exact tone.
True.
Reading between the lines, understanding their business, and telling them if they have a misnotion about what their brand should look like, or who their brand should connect with and how. That definition and that responsibility rests with us. That won't ever be done.
Great. This also reminds me, I can connect with a previous session which we had with Triple ID yesterday.
Okay.
And the topic was Gen Z's take on interior design. And we were having discussions on generating images through ChatGPT or other AI platforms. And then Pinterests were one of the topics. So this brings back to when you say they cannot rule over when otherwise you will lose over the period of time. Because as you said, we need to understand the clientele. There's a whole research, understanding, and then reflect upon that.
Yeah.
So, and with this, I'll end with my last question. What would be your advice to young designers and design students who are interested to specialize or take forward with retail design branding as to work with retail brands or to maybe as entrepreneurs who want to develop brands?
Both work. Honestly, whatever works for an individual. I think it's more to do with the work culture aspect of it. In the sense, are you the kind of person, like I am, to work with multiple who really is passionate about working with multiple brands on an ongoing basis? And bring meaning to the encoded messages within a space? Because that's something that you will have a higher opportunity as an independent consultant because we work with multiple brands. But I do not want to say that in-house designers who work with retail corporates do not have those opportunities. There are many of them who get a huge creative opportunity to make a difference to retail brands by being in-house designers as well. So it depends. You need to know what's your purpose as a retail designer. Maybe experiment on both the sides and see what kind of work culture works for you. What kind of commitment you're able to bring to the table, and where you're able to make a difference. And really, what I would actually like to say, Pastor, is that it's not just as black or white as a retail corporate versus a design agency, because every retail corporate is different. Every design agency is different, right? So you can only tick off the first bucket whether you want to work with multiple brands and hence a design agency. But every design agency may not be a great fit for you, same as every retail corporate may not be a great fit.
Sure.
So those things are exploratory and very individual in nature. But I think that's how it's a journey. It's a discovery.
Thank you so much. This is such an interesting topic. We could have chatted more on this and have more in-depth understanding. But thank you so much, Juhi, for joining me at EDW 6.0. Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure. Thanks, Pastor. Thank you.